I think that they're an amazing option. And yet, my preference is still to be barefoot.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the secret.
I'm excited to continue my Why I Don't video series today with a video on why I don't wear shoes. First, if you're new to me, new to my channel, my name's Brittany. I have a website called simplelivingandtravel.com. You can learn more about the coaching I offer there, the program that I offer there, and if you're interested in following me otherwise, you can check out my Instagram. Some time ago, I made a video about the clothing in my minimalist wardrobe, including footwear, and I mentioned that I mostly don't wear shoes. I'm generally barefoot. And I got back some interesting responses, people just asking like, well, how do you do that? And so I thought it would be fun to expand on that here and talk about why I personally love not wearing shoes. As always, whatever feels best for you in all realms, and specifically in the realms of your footwear, I totally encourage you to go for. To put it really simply, I prefer not wearing shoes because I'm just way more comfortable barefoot. As you've probably gathered in a lot of my other Why I Don't videos, I prefer to have less. I prefer not to wear much clothing if I don't have to, and I just find shoes to be a bit intrusive and cumbersome. I've also noticed various elements of my health have improved since I've stopped wearing shoes, which has been a really cool side benefit. When I was little, I never wanted to put on shoes, and I see it all around now. Kids throwing off their shoes or fidgeting when their parents try to put shoes on them, and it makes sense. It's like our toes want to wiggle around and be free and be out in the air. I think a lot of little kids feel the same way about clothing. The truth is, we weren't born with clothing. We weren't born with shoes on. Our bodies don't naturally have those things attached to them. So it would make sense that they may not always be the most comfortable to be carrying on our bodies. Growing up, I lived near the ocean in Rhode Island, and one thing I loved about the warm weather was feeling like I didn't have to wear shoes anymore. I would wear sandals or flip-flops and just generally be barefoot as much as possible. I struggled with smelly feet and athlete's foot at some time when I was younger as well, and I really noticed that having my feet out in the open air, having them in the sunlight, all these things helped so much. My feet didn't itch anymore, they didn't smell anymore. It was like they didn't want to be trapped inside these mini little torture chambers, and especially with socks on. They wanted to breathe. It felt so liberating, and I just loved walking around my yard barefoot, walking in the sand. I didn't wear shoes as often as possible. But then, you know, I did go to school, I did have a job, and a lot of these places, even stores, if you want to go into them, you have to wear shoes and a shirt or no service. So I wore shoes a lot more often then. Something interesting developed for me, and that was knee pain. And I thought it was coming from running, but as it turns out, I actually think it was coming from the shoes that I was wearing. And I would notice it after I would run and put more pressure on my joints in that way. About 6 years ago, I switched to a minimalist running shoe and everything changed. It was amazing. I didn't have the knee problems anymore, and just generally, my body felt more aligned, stronger, more like a unit. The thing I really enjoyed about those shoes was that there was no arch in them. So it was much more similar to being barefoot. It wasn't as great because my feet weren't liberated, my toes weren't wiggling out in the sun, but I didn't have to deal with so much padding between my foot and the ground. When I realized how much that added to my life, I changed all my shoe choices. I was never much one to wear heels, but I did have one pair of heeled boots at one point, and I got rid of those. And I got rid of my running shoes that had an arch in them and just padding. I downsized to a pair of Chuck's Converse, which are flat-soled, and I wore the Merrell barefoot running shoes. And I think that both of those are great options. But my preference still remained being barefoot. I tried out different sandals and flip-flops, etc. I had the Luna sandals for a while, which were alright. Then I switched to the Zero barefoot shoes, which I really love. This is what they look like. They're just about as close to being barefoot as I've experienced. I think that they're an amazing option. And yet, my preference is still to be barefoot. So, this video is called Why I Don't Wear Shoes, and I'm going to tell you how I do it. I am barefoot, I would say 99% of my life now. And it's been going on this way for a couple years and really solidly in the last year or so, I'd say. Most of my time I'm outside enjoying nature. Maybe I'm at a water source, the sand, or on the grass. Maybe I am doing acrobatics, playing outside in the grass. Maybe I'm inside an acrobatics gym. All these things don't require for me to wear shoes. If I take a yoga class, I don't need shoes. If I'm hanging out in Winnie, I don't need shoes. If I'm inside a friend's house, I don't need shoes. If I'm driving, I don't need shoes. The past few years, this is how I've been spending the majority of my time, is barefoot, doing all these different things that I love. When I really think about my days, I probably put my Zero shoes, those little barefoot sandals, on for about 10 minutes a day, and it's for the following reasons. To walk into a store, actually, I think that's it. To go into a store. I don't even wear my shoes when I walk across the parking lot into a building anymore, unless if that building requires that I wear shoes. And most of them don't. So the only time I really wear shoes is if I'm going into the supermarket or a gas station. I can't think of another time that I've been wearing shoes lately. I just so enjoy life without shoes. It's actually become a really fun thing for me to realize that I don't need to bring them places with me. Even these little Zero shoes, I just don't need to have them. And oddly enough, I found that when I was bringing them places, for example, when I'd wear them into my Friday night acro jam, I was often leaving them there and forgetting about them because I've been so accustomed to being barefoot. So many awesome things have come from this. My feet feel stronger, they feel cleaner than ever before. I think it's because they're always being aired out and they get in the sunshine a lot, which is really nice. As I understand it, the sun has natural antibacterial properties, and I just feel that. I feel cleaner, healthier. Because I don't have this arch support or other stuff in there, I also feel like my feet have gotten a lot stronger. And not just my feet, but my legs as well. When I first moved to my flat-footed running shoe, it was wild. My shins and my calves, actually, I think it was mostly my calves, were so sore. I had to really ease into it, because the muscles of my legs just weren't used to supporting me in that way. Now it's the most natural thing ever, and it feels so good to walk and run on my bare feet. I still do have my pair of barefoot running shoes in Winnie, and if I were going to go on like a trail run or a hike, I would wear them. But that's really the exception at this point. For my day-to-day life, I find that I'm just not using them. I'm not using footwear. I'm using my bare feet, just as they were made for me to carry my body. I've had such great experiences with this. I've never gotten glass in my foot or stepped on something so rough and uncomfortable. Sometimes, especially in the beginning, my feet were a lot more sensitive to the rougher ground, and I was ginger on them, or I didn't do it as often, or I eased into it. But now, the sensations I feel on my feet when I'm walking are nice and pleasurable. And if they aren't, I walk on softer ground. If I'm on a rough path and there's grass beside it, I'll walk on the grass. It feels like a nice way to listen to what my body actually needs. My feeling is that my body naturally doesn't have shoes, so it must be an important connection between myself and the ground that I'm walking on that I can tap into and learn more about how to take care of myself in those moments. I also love being connected to the earth in this way, and I know that there's a lot of science behind grounding that's real, and we can feel it in our bodies. I feel much more relaxed and at ease being barefoot. It almost feels similar to that skin-to-skin contact I like having with other humans and with myself. It feels like our bodies were created intentionally in this way, and that we can get a lot out of these experiences. I know some people have special shoes and it feels like it helps support their back or other parts of their bodies. Some people spend their whole day standing and need something special. Some people spend their whole day sitting and need something special. I feel like it's really cool that we can all adapt to our own unique lives, and that there are so many tools and innovations in this modern world now that we have at our fingertips to help support us along these journeys. I love the natural journey that I'm on. I've noticed that getting more minimalist, getting rid of more stuff, getting down to just more of me, just me, my body, my heart, my mind, everything in the world is leading to more happiness, a more authentic existence for me. And in this way, I feel like being barefoot is really serving me in my life. And I just feel more fun and more free. I'm always ready to kick up into a handstand or fly on somebody's feet. I get to give myself little foot massages here and there, just touch my body more, be more connected with myself. I can feel the terrain under me where I'm walking and I know what to expect, or I can feel the bark of a tree if I'm climbing it. Hygienically speaking, I know everybody has different preferences in these realms and how they want to care for themselves. Feeling out my own unique approach to natural hygiene and health in all these realms really feels like it's adding value to my life. I love getting the chance to offer you all an opportunity to reflect on your shoe choices or any other choices that this has made you think of in your life, and ask yourself how they're serving you, and if you could be more authentic to yourself and what you want to be fostering in your life. Thank you so much for watching this video about why I don't wear shoes, mostly. It's so fun to connect with you as always. Keep a lookout for another regular Tuesday video coming up. You guys rock. I'll connect with you again soon. Bye.